It me reporting whatever the fuck I want.
You don't own me.
Whatever.
You should be scared.
It's tea time. Hello and welcome to Mad Hatter News. I'm your host, Sarah, and what we do here is we talk about all of the news that's been going viral on my TikTok page, Tea Time with Sarah. So feel free to follow so you know everything that we're going to be talking about on Mad Hatter News at the end of the week. And subscribe to this channel, whether you're hearing me on Spotify or on YouTube. Definitely subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now let's get into the news. Okay, so Canada just passed a bill into law called Bill C-18, and this prevents any social media on Facebook or Instagram to post news stories in Canada, period. You will not see news stories from Canadian news in Canada on Instagram or Facebook again. And they're trying to make it so that Google is completely censored as of January 1st, 2024. Obviously, this is a huge problem. Censorship, hello? Have you heard of her? Now, they're saying that the reason that they're doing this is because the ad revenue is going towards Instagram and Facebook more than it's going towards the local and national media stations. And so the journalists aren't being paid what they should. But hear me out. If ad revenue is the only way that your journalists are being paid, how strong is your news media source, first of all? Second of all, let's look a little bit deeper into that comment. If ad revenue is how a station is being paid, then wouldn't any product be able to pay a news station to say stuff according to what they want them to say? If you start thinking about who owns different products, we all go back to BlackRock and Vanguard Group at the end of the day. So ultimately, the agenda of BlackRock and Vanguard Group can seep down into ad revenue, which then influences media. So we're seeing this whole domino effect of how that could work. That's definitely a black area that we haven't even delved into yet. That is a main problem here that people are just sitting here admitting and not even realizing it. But let's go back to the main issue. So even to this moment, people are saying in the comment section of this video I posted on TikTok that they cannot see Canadian news on Instagram or Facebook anymore as of right now. And as of January 1st, it's going to be completely censored. At least that's what this law is claiming. Now, Australia did do this a while back and came to some sort of agreement, but it doesn't seem like an agreement is coming to fruition with this Canadian news media issue that we have going on right now. How are you going to block the number one way that people these days get their news, which is social media? People in the comments are saying, I wouldn't trust social media with news in the first place anyway. I'm sorry, babe. Do you not realize that this is not regurgitated information or reworded information that somebody put on social media? That's what TikTok is for, right? When we do hear those things, we want to fact check what we see. So if you hear something on TikTok and go to Google as of January 1st and fact check it, it will not be there. That is the problem. Censorship should be alarming to everyone. Also, again, they're not just rewording this and putting it online. They are censoring a repost of any news article in Canada. They're censoring the repost. That means that you cannot post it and then click on it to go directly to the article. That's a problem. The article is linked to the Canadian news source page. That's how we get our news these days. And now it's not possible. This should be alarming to you, Canada. And a lot of Canadians are in the comments saying, we're blinking twice, we're not okay. But then some Canadians very clearly do not understand what's happening to them. They are sitting there defending their country censoring the news. Hello. Wake up, Canada. I think that Canadians, and again, this is no hate to Canadians, okay? Let me be very clear for that. I don't want no Canadians out here in my comment section because y'all be doing that on my TikTok videos. Canadians, just in my objective point of view as an American, are very flattered by the fact that Americans want to move there if anything happens, or they have a lot of pride in the fact that their country does do well and they're known to be peaceful and so on. So, of course, I understand that pride. But that pride seems to be kind of overshadowing this very serious censorship issue where they are not able to admit that there is a problem in their country, or they just don't understand truly what's going on, and they're speaking from a place of ignorance. Some Canadians do get it. Some Canadians absolutely don't. And it's very obvious by some of the things that they're saying in my comment section on these videos about the censorship of Canadian news. Now, Canada said that it will allow Meta to post their news stories if they pay them a certain amount of money, but Meta is not going to pay Canada any sort of money to have their news articles on their site. They're just not going to host it. That's it. It's no skin off their nose. They don't care. And at the end of the day, what's going to happen if they do pay Canada? It will set up a precedent for every single country on earth to charge Meta. And Meta is not about paying anything to anybody. In fact, they're not even about paying American taxes. They just moved their corporate headquarters to Ireland so that they don't have to pay American taxes anymore. Yeah, so we're losing that income from a business that was started in the United States, and we're no longer getting that tax revenue anymore for our country. It's insane. We could benefit so much from that, even though they were getting tax breaks anyway. But now they've completely moved to Ireland and don't have to pay us a dime in taxes. So you really think Meta cares? Meta doesn't care. It just won't host your news anymore. That's it. But it's sickening that, first of all, people don't understand what's going on, and they are fighting this ignorant fight against people in the comment section of my video. But also, secondly, they don't understand that this means you are censored. They don't understand that this means that they can start censoring anything. I mean, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. That's how government is. That's how authority figures are. That's how people are in general. You have to understand the psychology of people, and especially people with a lot of money. They don't care about you. They don't care that you're not getting the news. And as dumb as social media has made us, taking the news away from social media is going to make us even dumber. It's really not that hard to figure out. 1 + 1 = 2, X, Y, Z. It's so upsetting. I need some hot toddy right now. I am drinking hot toddy from wholelifetea.com. I put a little whiskey in it. If you enter my code TEATIME at checkout, you'll get 20% off every order every single time at wholelifetea.com. It is a small business based out of Utah with a mom of 4 named Noelle, who has been an herbalist for the past 11 years, and she's fantastic. These teas are fantastic. I'm drinking hot toddy because it's a little chilly outside. The holidays are coming up, so if you're looking for any sort of gift ideas, Whole Life Tea is definitely a very cute place to go. They have a lot of accessories, a lot of amazing teas that you cannot find anywhere else. This tea looks like potpourri, and it's the same cost per net weight as those shitty little tea bags you get in Target or Walmart. So might as well just order from Whole Life Tea and get 20% off. Now just give me 1 second while I take a drink. Now back to the news. So I came across a video this week of Stanley Plotkin, who is the godfather of vaccines, admitting to some pretty atrocious things, and I want you guys to take a look at it real quick.
Have you ever used orphans to study an experimental vaccine?
Yes.
Have you ever used babies of mothers in prison to study an experimental vaccine?
Yes.
Have you ever used individuals under colonial rule to study an experimental vaccine?
Yes.
Did you do so in the Belgian Congo?
Yes.
So again, that was Stanley Plotkin, the godfather of vaccines. He made the HIV vaccine, he made the rabies vaccine, polio vaccine, and many others. Of course, his contributions have helped millions of people in the world, but they obviously were built upon horrible practices that are extremely inhumane. And a lot of people in the comment section were saying, why don't they just use human guinea pigs that are on death row? These men that are in prison. and will not be getting out. Why would you use children in orphanages to do these basically science projects on? We get it that the benefit of the world was at stake, but at what cost? At what cost ethically are you doing this? And he's just admitting it so freely. And it's just upsetting. How many things could we have achieved, right? How many things could you achieve if ethics were not on the table? We could probably achieve a lot, but ethics should be on the table. We shouldn't be giving orphans in orphanages HIV just to test what happens and give them all these sort of drugs to see if they can overcome it. This is horrible, horrible. And I just thought that everyone needed to know. So there you go. That's one of the things. It's just very upsetting. Then, of course, there are the Maui wildfires, and I really want to talk about that because I was sitting back for a while and watching all of this go down, realizing that from the very moment that I moved to Hawaii when I was 18, I didn't understand the true idea behind the Hawaiians' hatred of the mainland and why they didn't want to be a part of the United States. Of course, I was pretty naive as an 18-year-old and had no idea. But after I was in Hawaii a while, I realized that this is a kingdom of people and they were forced to give up that kingdom by bayonet. I don't know if people realize how Hawaii became a state, but what happened was the US government went into the palace of the queen at the time, pointed a gun at her head with soldiers with bayonets in her own home, and forced her to sign over her kingdom to the United States. That's how Hawaii became a state. If you didn't know that, that's fine because it's not common knowledge. But guys, that's how Hawaii became a state. The United States stole it by force and threats of murder. So Hawaii is pretty pissed. And now we're finding out a lot of things. For example, there was a drone that was carrying a laser that only burns blue things, and they showed this on TikTok. I love TikTok because people just expose on there, including myself. So if you don't follow me on Tea Time with Sarah, definitely go check it out right now. Again, the things that we talk about on Mad Hatter News are the things that have gone viral on my TikTok page. So if you want to know what we're going to talk about, definitely follow me on TikTok at Tea Time with Sarah. But they're finding out that the drone that carries these lasers were right above Maui when the fires hit. And all of the multimillionaires who had houses on the hill, none of their property was damaged at all. It was all the area that the federal government has been trying to take for development from the natives, and the natives were not selling it. So all of that area that the natives were on and were trying not to sell is the area that went up in flames. And now it's considered a danger zone or a hazardous area. So the United States government has every right to take that land and not allow people to live on it. This is definitely something that I've talked about before. It's come up when the train derailments have been happening and chemical spills have been going on all around the United States. They've been taking that land and saying that it's not usable for humans. So they're going to take it and develop it in whatever way they want. They have been talking about having smart cities on Maui. And if you don't know what the smart cities are about, I've been talking about that on my TikTok for a while. They're building smart cities all across the world, and they're called 15-minute cities, where everything is within 15 minutes bike ride of each other. And I believe one of the places that they're trying to do this within the United States right now, besides Maui, is Chattanooga, Tennessee. There's also a couple other areas in the Midwest that they're trying to do this, but they're doing it all around the world. And they're trying to set up this smart city now in Maui. There were already talks about the smart city starting in Maui, and now they're actually doing it in the same place that the wildfires hit. They're like, oh, wow, really interesting that there were fires that happened here. Well, I guess we should try to develop it now, because no one else can live on it. Are you kidding me? We see right through you. And then, of course, Oprah, who has a multi-million-dollar estate on Maui that didn't get torched, by the way. It was not touched at all. She comes out saying that we need to give them money because it's a great fund for Maui. Not only can she write off all of our donations off of her taxes as charity work, but also She didn't realize she's asking a nation of people who don't have health care, who don't have good education systems, who don't even make enough to live. Our rent prices are more than ever before. We can't make rent. We can't buy houses. A dream of owning a house is never going to happen for most of the people in my generation. And Oprah is asking us to donate money to these victims in Maui. Are you kidding me, Oprah? I was just so irate, and so were a lot of people online when they heard Oprah saying this. But then when Oprah had the chance to come back and realize the error of her ways, reverse what she was saying a little bit, she decided to double down and just say, hey, we have a really sad state in our country that people don't want to help. Oprah, are you okay? She's very clearly gone to the dark side, because that's not what we're doing. She doesn't realize what she's saying. And this is from 20 plus years of being with the Hollywood elite, being one of them. She's not one of us anymore. We thought she was. She's not. She has sold out. She doesn't understand what we need. She doesn't understand how we think. She doesn't understand the problems with the common people. Hey, Oprah, what about all of the girls at your school in Africa who went missing, who have been assaulted by staff at your school? There's even talks that there is some sort of a human trafficking ring going on at the schools that you opened in Africa. Oprah, what's going on? Yeah, we don't believe Oprah anymore. Oprah is canceled. Oprah's canceled. So anyways, so this week I was a victim of Scientologists. No, I'm just kidding. They were my victim. Basically, I saw them outside of the train station recruiting, and me and my friend were on our way to the liquor store, so we decided, why don't we just go and see what they're doing. They're going under the name Dianetics instead of Scientology. Dianetics is a fancy way of basically not letting people know this is Scientology. And when I went over there, I just, was trying to figure out what it was all about. I wanted to see what they were going to do and say to me. And what ended up happening is they hooked me up to a machine that measures your stress. And I took some video of this, even though they said I could not videotape the thing. One of my friends was behind me recording the entire interaction, not getting anybody's faces on camera, even though they were right there on the street and we had every right to record them, but whatever. They hooked me up to this machine that looked like it was straight out of the 1950s, and it is supposed to measure your stress, right? And I was wondering, why are they trying to measure our stress? They were asking me all sort of things like, how stressful is your work? What stresses you out about work? What is the most stressful thing in your life right now? What makes you sad now? What is happening with your friendships now? What's going on in your relationships now? Like very specific, invasive questions. And I answered, no, nothing's going on. And the stress meter wasn't doing anything. And I could tell that the girl was getting a little bit confused. And so she was like, well, you got to think deeply. What's really going on in your life? Anything that stresses you out, anything. And as she's saying this, the stress meter is just going haywire. And she's like, that right there. What are you stressed about? What's making the needle go? And I'm like, you asking me all these questions is stressing me out, girl. And she didn't think that was funny. But I was just taken aback at how many people they were recruiting. People were there just looking for answers. People that were just walking down the street that are just looking for something, anything to give them answers to make this life make sense, to reduce their stress. And they were getting a lot of people that seemed like they wanted to be recruited for this. Scientology is a dangerous organization. And the girl I was talking to that was trying to recruit people, although she was very, very nice, she was definitely giving off cult vibes. She was just like, yeah, great. I understand. Like, it was totally brainwashed. Definitely giving Manson family vibes for sure. We've seen that look. We've seen the brainwashed look before, and that's what this girl had. I was given a brochure with quotes by John Travolta. Yeah. And also she handed me their Bible that had a chapter on demons. And that's when I left. Listen, Scientology is a dangerous organization. The fact that they tried to find out what stresses me out the most and were trying to get into the nitty-gritty details of my life so quickly is a million trillion blaring red flags, alarms, whatever you want to call it. It is messed up. It's definitely an issue. They should not be out here recruiting on the sidewalks of Chicago or anywhere for that matter. And it was just very alarming. And I just wanted to note that because it was pretty crazy. Another thing I wanted to discuss on Mad Hatter News today is Senator Feinstein. So Senator Feinstein was born in the early years of the Great Depression, and she is still a senator. She was a senator as of a little over 30 years ago, and she has never lost her spot. This is a huge problem in our government. There are not term limits, and there are also not age limits. If we're forced into retirement at age 65, 66, these people should not be just getting into the Senate at 65, 66, and then continuing on until they're 100, 105, until they croak. You know what I mean? They should not be in our Senate. They don't know what we need. They don't know what we want. They're not involved with us as a culture. The last time they were in their 20s was 1945. Are you kidding me? That's when Hitler was still in power. It is nuts. It's insane. So Senator Feinstein is so old. She gave her daughter power of attorney over all of her affairs. So her daughter, Catherine Feinstein, is an ex-judge, and Catherine Feinstein, her daughter, is now signing off on lawsuits in her mother's name. Again, not an elected official, taking the place of Senator Feinstein and signing off on these. I just want to reiterate, Senator Feinstein is too old and ill-equipped to handle the details of her own life, but she is entrusted to make decisions for us. That's a problem. And her daughter is signing off on these decisions. This woman, are you kidding me? This is insane. There should be term limits and there should be age limits, period. It should not be allowed that an elected official is not able to do their job and so their child can sign off on things for their job. It's not okay. This is not acceptable. This should not happen. And the amount of people in the comment section saying that through the grapevine, they've been hearing that a lot of people in politics and a lot of people in the Senate are affected with Alzheimer's disease and are still sitting there making decisions. No wonder everything is gone ape in this country. No wonder the laws are crazy. No wonder everything seems whack. It's because these people have Alzheimer's and they're making decisions for us. It's insane. This should never be allowed. I saw a Reddit thread where a delivery driver was saying that he delivers prescriptions to the Senate in DC every single day, like directly to their offices, and that there's a lot of Alzheimer's medication that he's delivering. Drop the name, sir. Drop the name, sir. I mean, if he dropped the name too, he'd go to jail. You can't tell the public what citizens have as far as their prescriptions, but I mean, it's pretty telling considering all of the laws that have been passed lately and the things that are going down in Congress and in the Senate and their logic behind everything. It definitely seems like they have Alzheimer's and dementia. So 1 + 1 = 2. These people should not be in power. We should definitely be getting young people in there that know exactly what's going on. And when I say young people, I mean anyone under the age of 50 needs to be in the Senate who knows what they're doing. You know what the public needs. You know what the citizens of this country needs. You're among us. You are living among us. You're seeing the issues. These are the people that should be making decisions. That's just good business. I mean, if you don't change with the times, your business is going to fail. And we all know that the United States is basically a business, unfortunately. So if you don't change with the times, if you don't go through with technological advances with your business is going to fail. So just the same way, if you don't know what your customer base is, if you don't understand them, your business is going to fail. So let's get people in there that know what's going on, that understand the customer base, aka us, unfortunately, unfortunately, and can do something great in this country. But they're not going to do that because they don't want to give up their power. Power is the number one demon in this universe. And I think even the devil is not bigger than the power demon because, in fact, the power demon possessed the devil to make the devil want to have power, right? And the old story, if the old story about the devil is true, then that means that the devil was actually possessed by a bigger demon, the power-hungry demon. Power-hungry demon is the biggest demon in this universe. But I'm going to head out now, guys. My camera keeps shutting off because it's getting too hot. It doesn't matter if I put it in the freezer or not. It's just going to keep going off. So I'm just going to end this here. Definitely follow me on TikTok at Tea Time with Sarah. Also, make sure you subscribe so you hear what's going down in the news every single week. I also post reaction videos here on my channel, so stay tuned for that as well. Also, hit that like button and comment. Don't forget to visit wholelifetea.com and get 20% off every order every time when you enter the code TEATIME. And we'll just be seeing you guys back here next time. Bye.